Well, many thanks for joining us. You're watching QTV, broadcasting from the Gambia, and this is the news with me, Ansumana Isonyasi. First, the main local, international, and sports news headlines. On another stop on his Meet the People tour, President Barrow says he has no desire to stay as long in power as the country's two previous presidents. We hear from the Minister of Finance how much is in the budget for servicing the nation's debt. A soldier tells the TRRC how his life was ruined after he was accused of stealing 4 sheep belonging to then-President Jammeh. A charitable organization gives over $1 million to 462 vulnerable families. In international news, the British government announces sanctions against ex-President Jammeh, his wife and some associates. And in sports, host Benin get back on track in the Iwafu B qualifying tournament for the Under-20 Total Africa Cup of Nations, Mauritania 2021. And we hear about what happened when Ghana faced off against Nigeria. Well, for more on these and other stories coming up, do stay tuned. And now the local news in detail. President Barrow says he has no intention of staying in power as long as Presidents Jawara and Jammeh did. He announced at a meeting in Sanjal Sarakunda, Northbank region on Thursday. As Alusise reports, the president has now entered Central River region.
After 3 days in the North Bank region, the Gambian leader and his delegation are now entering the Central River region as part of his ongoing nationwide tour. The people of the Central River region, led by their governor, Sirif Abbasanyang, are here at the border, Victor Praise, the North Bank region and the Central River region to welcome the Gambian leader to their region. The Gambian leader will spend 3 days in the Central River region before moving to the Upper River region. Speaking earlier on Thursday at his last meeting in the North Bank region at Sanjal Sarakunda, President Barrow told the meeting that he has no plans to stay as long in power as the two previous presidents, Dawda Kairaba Jawara and Yaya Jammeh. I don't want to be a president for 30 or 22 years, even if the Gambians want to give it to me. I will do my work, leave, and someone will come and continue the work, he told the meetings. Many say the president's comment is a response to those who accuse him of planning to entrench himself in power. He told the meeting that, at the moment, he is more focused on delivering the goods to the people.
Man la fi sanji tan saba kela jang man la fi sanji muan kela jang nga contrat ko le soto ni nga wol dogu nde bola jele modo ena e continue.
He teased those aspiring to succeed him to exert a bit patience to allow him little time to complete his work. I have not come to make money but to work for you, he told the people of Sabak Sanjal district as he wrapped up his stay in the North Bank region. The president's message was the same at his first meeting at Balangar Kernderi in Lower Salum, Central River region. Locals raised concerns over different sectors, including health and education. In response, Dr. Ahmad Lamin Samate, the health minister, said the government had procured adequate medication that are stored at the Central Medical Store in Kotu and Bansang Hospital. Therefore, the lack of adequate medication in minor facilities are in most cases due to late requests from regional health directorates and the increased demand. He reveals, among other things, that renovation work on improved health service delivery is about to commence at Kaur and Kuntaur health facilities. On the issue of inadequate nurses, the health minister wants to see graduates from rural areas study nursing to serve their communities. He urged the people to embrace donating blood to help address the acute blood shortage in the system. He used the meeting to remind the people that the COVID-19 is still around as he urged them to continue practicing the preventive measures. Hamad Nkeba, the Minister of Tourism, recalled that the people of Balangar have been denied several development projects for years because of their opposition status. He urged them to put aside their differences now and rally their support behind the president. On the issue of water problems, Musa Drame, Lance Minister, announced that 3 boreholes will be constructed in the Balangar region in 2021. He advised the Kuntaur Area Council to include a new market for Balangar in their 2021 budget. Claudiana Cole, the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, admonished the young graduates to take advantage of the college in Basse. Sekou Jawara, Chairman of Kuntaur Area Council, confirms his defection to NPP from GDC party under which he was elected. He said he is proud to join NPP and ready to support President Barrow 100%. There was also a presentation of milling machines to communities in Lower Salom. On Friday, the president held meeting in Batndar in Upper Salom. On Saturday, the president will hold meetings in Chamen Nyanija and Wasu in Nyani. Reporting for QTV News from Janjamure in the Central River region, I am Aliu Sise.
Nearly $6 billion is allocated for debt servicing in the 2021 budget, which is higher than all allocations and amounts to at least 27% of the total budget. Well, this figure is less than what was approved for the 2020 budget. QTV's Mohamed Lamin Choi spoke to the Minister of Finance about what policy measures government has for moving the country from being debt distressed to a more sustainable level.
Over $22 billion have been approved for government expenditure for the 2021 fiscal year, showing the usual trend of allocation on servicing debt for heavily indebted poor countries that is still struggling to manage its public debt. The total allocation for debt servicing this year is more than 14% higher than that of the allocation for basic and secondary education, and almost 20% higher than that of health, the major priority areas of President Barrow's National Development Plan. The Gambia's public debt stock as of the end of September 2020 stands at $67.7 billion, a record that shows one of the reasons why debt services tops our national budget, especially at a time it has reached an unsustainable level. The situation of our country's public debt stock has the potential to influence the decision of the Gambia's creditors on lending and grant allocation. The Minister of Finance tells us about the reaction of our external creditors to our public debt situation. A budget deficit of more than $5 billion is already waiting for government's measures to finance, which, as usual, cannot rule out more borrowing. Through prudent fiscal measures, the government aims to manage its borrowings to finance the deficit. The level of domestic borrowing will have an impact on domestic businesses. The comfort for businesses is the government's tax reduction measures on goods and services, but there's still something for them to worry about, especially how much domestic borrowing government will make to finance the deficit.
So we are comforted. It's for economics and other pundits to really discuss this impact on the overall economy. But for business, we know that this money that the government is looking for is coming from borrowing. Our worry is that most of this borrowing, of course, is going to come from domestic borrowing, and we hope that that is not going to increase treasury bill rates and therefore increase interest, but we are yet to see and understand how that is done.
And what is government's new fiscal approach towards reducing our public debt stock from distress to a sustainable level? It is certain, as the Debt Sustainability Analysis Report recommends, that what the government needs to do to achieve a sustainable public debt is to improve its tax revenue collection, manage expenditure and strengthen revenue mobilization efforts to broaden our economy's tax base. The debt stock is the portion of our country's debt that was borrowed from external lenders and could include commercial banks, governments, or international financial institutions. Mohamed Lamin Choy, Qtv News.
At the TRRC on Thursday, a former soldier, Ibu Sanyang, told the Truth Commission that he was arrested and accused of stealing 4 ships belonging to ex-President Yahya Jammeh, and that it was announced on state TV that he was a wanted man for the theft. Babukar C reports.
Ibu Sanyang told the commission how he enrolled into the army, eventually ending up in the team patrolling the Gambia-Casamance border, where, according to him, was a scary place because of the rebels who frequented those areas. The witness said he was threatened with arrest on many occasions by jungler Ismaila Jammeh, and he later had to apply for a study leave so he could leave the place. While studying, the witness said he used to report to the president's farm in Farato. In August 2012, the witness said he was arrested and accused of conniving with a civilian to steal 4 ships belonging to ex-President Jammeh. The witness provided a copy of a newspaper with the story to the lead counsel.
It shows, the article is, a corporal in the Gambian army has been declared wanted by the army for allegedly stealing 4 ships belonging to President Jammeh.
The witness said he had to leave the country for Guinea-Bissau because the police, army, the bulldozers task force were all looking for him, and that it reached a stage that the then CDS Usman Baji announced on state TV that a corporal in the armed forces was wanted for stealing Jammeh's ship. When they could not find him, the witness said his brother and sister were arrested and detained for 5 months.
He said to me that it was myself who went to arrest your younger brother and your sister.
In your statement, you said for 5 months.
Almost 5 months.
Yes, especially my sister. I said.
So they detained your sister and brother for 5 months for you because you nicked, or you are alleged to have nicked or stolen 4 ships which were recovered.
Ibu Sanyang said he ran to Guinea-Bissau with his wife, and while there, he went to the Gambian embassy in Bissau, where he lodged a complaint and asked the consular to help him solve his situation. Ibu said the embassy wrote to Jammeh on 2 occasions, and later he was informed to come back home. Ibu Sanyang said he came back to the Gambia and stayed for more than a year, only to be arrested in 2016 and taken to the Yundum Barracks military police. He said he was beaten for an hour by one Fai, a military police officer, and later returned to the cell where he spent 2 months and was later dismissed from the army. He was later moved to the NIA where he spent 4 months before being released after the change of government. Babukar C, Qtv News.
Sama Cairo Federation Friday disbursed $1 million to 462 vulnerable families in Combo East and South. QTV covered the disbursement at Faraba, where 50 families received various sums as part of the Christmas support package given by sponsors abroad. More in this report. Speaking to QTV, the finance coordinator of Sama Cairo Federation, Fakeba Fadera, says the disbursement of these monies is part of the Federation's efforts to ameliorate the challenges faced by parents in paying tuition fees and providing for their children's needs. He applauded their partners and sponsors for reaching out to vulnerable families in Combo East and South, adding that this will go a long way towards supporting them, especially during the festive periods like Christmas.
This is definitely benefiting these children. This, as I mentioned, is an optional gift. The money is without conditions, and when these children receive these gifts, they will decide how to use this gift together with their parents. And then we know majority of our children are from poor backgrounds, and then a lot of them even find it to put food on the table. So some use the gift to support their education, some use it for feeding, some use it for other family matters or other family needs.
Maisise and Fatu Nyangado, both beneficiaries, thanked Sama Cairo for supporting them, especially during what they describe as a very difficult period.
I can't thank them enough. This support couldn't have come at a better time. As a parent, I know how it feels when your child needs something and you can't provide it for them. So I am happy to receive this support on behalf of my daughter.
They are helping me a lot because, without mom, life is difficult. But when they are at my back, paying my school fees and others, so I feel comfortable.
What message do you have for your sponsors?
I'm so happy because they are helping many children. Some people are in nursery school, some are in the primary school, paying their school fees, giving them bags, bicycles, books, pens. So they are doing a lot to the country.
Speaking earlier, Alaji Modu Bojang, representing the village alcalde of Faraba, urged beneficiaries to show appreciation by also reaching out to sponsors and Sama Cairo, and a sort of the village's continuous support to the Federation. Sama Cairo is a child fund affiliate headquartered in Brikama. About 500 vulnerable families in Combo East and South receive support from the Federation each year. Ansmane Sohnyasi for Qtv News. Well, we now take a short commercial break, but the news continues when we return with more local, business and international as well as sports news. Do stay with us. Well, thanks for staying with us. Now, a one-month training program for officials of the Talining Police Station on cybersecurity organized by the Gambia Cybersecurity Alliance is currently underway. Jennifer Sonko attended the opening and she files in this report.
Cybersecurity is the practice of protecting systems, networks, and programs from digital attacks. These attacks usually aimed at accessing, changing, or destroying sensitive information, extorting money from users, or interrupting normal business processes. The police have a responsibility to address such incidents when they are perpetrated on people, thus the need to build their capacities.
The police has been working very, very hard. I can tell you this. They have been working very, very hard to combat cybercrime in this country and also cyberbullying. The challenge that they have, which I'm not blaming the police force for that is in terms of capacity and materials, which is a bigger problem. Not getting the right materials is a challenge for the police force. But even with the limited materials that we provided them after the training, the police recently, we have seen they have started, arresting cyber criminals in this country. They have started arresting cyber criminals who are foreigners, and they deport them through the immigration department. We have seen all these things. We have records of all these things. So the police have been doing very, very well. What I want to urge is that I want people to build trust and confidence in the police force.
Cyberbullying is one of the most common forms of cyber incidents. Cyberbullying is the use of technology to harass, threaten, embarrass, or target another person. It occurs mostly among young people. When an adult is involved, it may meet the definition of cyber harassment, a crime that can have legal consequences and involve jail. Bubakar Jawo, deputy head of GAMSAT, says companies are not doing enough to ensure cybersecurity.
A lot of institutions do not see cybersecurity as a priority. So funding is a major problem, getting funding. So we want to train managers and CEOs, to inform them about the importance of cybersecurity. Because imagine now, if a bank suffers from a cyber attack, you cannot use anything. You cannot use your ATM, you cannot get money out. That can cause civil strife.
Implementing effective cybersecurity measures is particularly challenging today because there are more devices than people and attackers are becoming more innovative.
This training will really help the police. It really helped the police because the police, as I told you, our prime function is to arrest criminals, prosecute them, investigate the crime. But now we have problem with these modern crimes. That are the cyber crimes. So the police, we have problem with cyber because, police can only arrest somebody you see.
The Gambia Cybersecurity Alliance is a professional organization which seeks to promote, advocate, and create awareness on cybersecurity, positive information, communication technology policies, regulations, unrestricted access to information, and net neutrality. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basonko.
The Senegalese music superstar Wally Ballago Seck, who also serves as the SOS Children's Villages Goodwill Ambassador in Senegal, on Thursday donated food supplies and other materials to the SOS Children. The donation, among others, is part of annual support the Senegalese musician has offered to the SOS Children's Villages. Mohamed Lamin Choi reports.
The popular Senegalese music star is welcome to the SOS Children Villages, not for a musical performance, but a philanthropic venture for these children who have been benefiting from these artists over the years. Wally Ballago Seck is a goodwill ambassador to the SOS Children's Villages in Senegal.
Mr. Wally Ballago Seck is here to show his love, his concern to the children of SOS, together with the partners of Africix and the CEO of Mamjaro Production.
The music star donates to the SOS Children's Villages de Gambia a supply of food which include bags of rice, drums of oil, stock of play toys and other materials for the children. For quite a few years now, Wally has supported SOS Children's Villages de Gambia, including during festive periods. He attributes this regular support to SOS Children's Villages as a manifestation of his love for the Gambia, a country that has significantly contributed towards his music career.
Sumaron am double nationality. Buguma bu France, buguma bu America, not bu Canada, everything. Bila bëgg muy Gambian people.
If I could have a double nationality, I would not choose either that of France, the US or Canada, but the one I love and would accept is that of the Gambia. This is because, apart from Senegal, it is the Gambia that makes me what I am today. I am proud of that and supporting these children. If I am the Senegal's SOS Children's Goodwill Ambassador, and I don't play a part back here in the Gambia, then I am not fit to be in my position. And among the most excited are the mothers who thank Wally Seck for his regular support to the lives of their sons and daughters at the SOS Children's Villages in the Gambia. Also, the children, who are the direct beneficiaries of this donation, could not be more joyful and grateful.
Di gërëm Wally, ñu ngi kontaan ci moom.
We are very grateful to Wally Seck for his support. We, the mothers and our children, love you so much that at this event we are so emotional that some of us are shedding tears of joy. We are happy knowing that you never forget us in our time of need.
Bagaas yi moom dina ko use ba use that. Bagaas yi dina wa jërëjëf ci loo ñu joxe bagaas yi yëpp xale yëpp dina kontaan.
These materials will serve us for a very long time, and we thank you for the donation because we are all happy about the support. God will pay you for your regular support to us.
The director of the SOS Children's Villages expresses gratitude to Wally and tells us about the regular support the music star offers to the children during his visits to the Gambia.
He's always there for them and he loves them dearly. He doesn't come here and go without really being so emotional. And he's our friend, definitely, and a father to the children, and he cares about them. He really, no matter how short the trip, he always visits the village. And he doesn't come empty-handed. It's gifts, sometimes even tobaskirams, money, you name it. He's always here and always supporting the children.
These children are indeed part of the future of this country who are in need of support, care and attention, and such humanitarian gesture like this one have the possibility of improving their lives, especially during this time of a disease pandemic that has affected the lives of millions of children around the world. Mohamed Lamin Choi, Qtv News.
Well, from that report, we take another short commercial break, but still to come is more local news as well as international. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. The Youth Empowerment Project YEP, in collaboration with the Insight Training Center, which has provided training on Friday, donated 4,000 face masks and soaps for the inmates at the Mile 2 Central Prison. The 2 months training for inmates is supported by the British High Commission. Babu Karsi reports.
The initiative is supported by the British High Commission in Banjul, who partnered with the Youth Empowerment Project YEP, an initial training center who train inmates on how to make their own face masks. 4,000 masks have been produced by the inmates, with 2,000 masks to be distributed within the prison, another 2,000 to various communities in rural Gambia. The participating inmates who took part in the training and sewing of the face masks will each be rewarded with $3,000. Ansumana Mane, the Director General of the Mile 2 prisons, in welcoming the gathering, said the prison was one of the most vulnerable places when the pandemic broke out, and thus coming up with this support is timely.
When the COVID was declared as a pandemic, the prison was so vulnerable that, well, we don't have any other option but to at least try to take measures. One of the measures are to install hand washing stations and even to restrict visits. Most of those masks that were brought here were not much reliable because we don't know how they were made. And most of our inmates were so reluctant to use the masks because they don't know how it was produced. So having their own that was made by themselves, I think, is of more significant. So that's why definitely this event is so significant.
The Director General went further to appeal to the British High Commissioner to look into the issue of women inmates who, according to him, need to be engaged in more skills work. Representing Initial Training Center, Ismaila Sise expressed gratitude for successfully completing the training of inmates on how to produce face masks and gave a rundown of how the training was done.
We were able to produce 4,000 face masks, in which 2,000 was also given to the rural communities, with the Women's Initiative also to support the women's in income generation. So we will thank our partner, that's the Women's Initiative Gambia, who have produced the 2,000 soap and also the 2,000 masks. Some, in fact, never knew how to start a machine. But at the end of the training, most of them now can operate a machine. The total number that have participated is 27 inmates. And with a surprise coming from the British High Commission and the International Trade Center, we have agreed that each inmate, I will announce here, will receive 3,000 equally. And also another fund is being allocated for Solidarity Fund that will be given to the prison authority that will be used for emergency, for medication and other emergency purpose for all the inmates.
British High Commissioner David Belgrove was full of praise for what he had seen of prisoners' training.
I have been to quite a few prisons around the world, and this is actually one of the best I've seen in terms of the training that's being given. I was really pleased that we have been able to be part of this project, especially because it's giving people the skills that they can use in the future, but also because you're making a valuable contribution in terms of actually combating this pandemic with the face masks, which are benefiting so many people.
The program started 2 months ago with support from the British High Commission, the International Trade Center and the training provided by the Inshire Training Center. The authorities stressed that if such projects and frequent initiatives happened in the prison service, the reform of inmates will be done rapidly and in large numbers so that when they leave the prisons, they can be of great addition to the society. Babu Karsi, Qtv News.
And over now to international news. In marking International Human Rights Day, Britain's Minister of Foreign Affairs announced in a video tweet that Britain has imposed asset freezes and travel bans on individuals, including former President Yahya Jammeh and associates, and organizations responsible for what he calls some of the most egregious human rights abuses. Mahmoud Mboj has the rest of that story.
Former President Jammeh, his wife Zainab, and former Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Yankuba Baji, are among 11 individuals and one organization from Russia, Venezuela and Pakistan affected by the sanctions. In a press release, the British government said it was acting in collaboration with the US, who themselves will announce new designations under their human rights regime. And here it is worth reminding ourselves that Jammeh, his wife, and Yankuba Badji are already under sanctions by the US, having been banned from entering the country and their assets, including Jammeh's $3.5 million mansion in Maryland, seized. Dominic Raab, Britain's Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs, in his video tweet on International Human Rights Day says Britain will play its role in seeking justice for victims of human rights violations, but acknowledge that for optimal effect, the sanctions regime must be internationally coordinated. A new sanctions regime spearheaded by the US and the UK, targeting those allegedly guilty of human rights abuses, has now become a fairly active tool in the fight against human rights violations. This new trend, so-called Magnitsky regime, was inspired by the death of Sergei Magnitsky, Russian lawyer who, it is alleged, suffered abuse and died in police custody in Moscow in 2009. The US in 2012 passed the first Magnitsky legislation, which in 2016 Congress voted to expand into a global Magnitsky Act, allowing for sanctions against human rights abusers in other parts of the world. Since then, officials from countries as diverse as China, the Dominican Republic, Turkey and the Gambia have been sanctioned. Britain's Magnitsky regime kicked off in July with the imposition of sanctions on 49 individuals and organizations around the world linked to human rights violations. Thursday's announcement was the third tranche of sanctions imposed by Britain. It is perhaps anybody's guess the assets these three have in the UK and how long it will take for the Gambia to recover the loot. Still, the idea of taking back ill-gotten gains from kleptocratic leaders and their cohorts can only be a popular idea. But how successful the sanctions regimes will deliver the desired outcomes would depend on the consistency and fairness of application of these sanctions. All too frequently, however, national interests overshadow international values and instruments in what often looks like selective justice, which of course is counterproductive to sustaining international collaboration. This year's theme for International Human Rights Day is Recover Better, Stand Up for Human Rights. For QTV News, I am Mamadou Mbouch.
And in sports news, host Benin get back on track after losing 1-0 to Niger in the opening match of the WAFU B qualifying tournament for the Under-20 Total Africa Cup of Nations, Mauritania 2021. And the class of the tournament so far saw Ghana face off against Nigeria. More in this report.
In the other match in the same group, Niger and Burkina Faso played out an entertaining 0-0 draw. In their match, hosts Benin looked nothing like the side that had succumbed to Niger. A further defeat would have ended their attempt to reach Mauritania 2021. Going out early in a competition at home clearly was not on their minds, as they started at a ferocious pace, with Charbel Gomez being the hero, scoring twice in the first half, first after 15 minutes from inside the area and again on the half-hour mark. Togo rallied and dominated in the second half without really threatening Benin goalkeeper Abiola Kachon, except when they forced him to a reflex save in the 74th minute. In the second Group A fixture, there was nothing to separate Burkina Faso and Niger. The 0-0 draw means Niger are top of the group on 4 points, one more than Benin. Burkina Faso, who had their second draw, have a couple of points, one more than Togo, who trail in the group with just a single point. Group B saw the clash of the giants as Ghana took on and beat arch-rivals Nigeria. Ivory Coast, the other team in the three-team group, watched with interest, having drawn 1-1 with Nigeria in their opening match. Ghana's win over Nigeria on Wednesday meant the Flying Eagles have been eliminated from the competition. The Black Satellites and the Côte d'Ivoire Under-20 team will battle it out for the top spot in Group B in the ongoing WAFU Zone B Under-20 tournament at the Stade de Charles de Gaulle in Porto Novo on Saturday. Ghana's win qualified them to the semi-final stage of the competition. Ivory Coast's draw with Nigeria means they can also book a place in the semi-finals should they secure a good result against the Black Satellites this weekend. Reporting for QTV News, I am Ade Darami.
Well, I'm afraid that's all about it, but before we take a leave of you, here's a recap of our main headlines. On another stop on his Meet the People tour, President Barrow said he has no desire to stay as long in power as the country's two previous presidents. We heard from the Minister of Finance how much is in the budget for servicing the nation's debt. A soldier told the TRC how his life was ruined after he was accused of stealing 4 ships belonging to then President Yahya Jammeh. A charitable organization has given over $1 million to 462 vulnerable families. In international news, the British government has announced sanctions against ex-President Jammeh, his wife and some associates. And in sports, host Benin get back on track in the EWAFU qualifying tournament for the Under-20 Total Africa Cup of Nations, Mauritania 2021. And we heard about what happened when Ghana faced off against Nigeria. Well, that's all we have for you in this edition of the news, but do join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Until then, thanks for watching.